This is Arvin Vora, founder of Vora Method and author of How to Get into an Ivy League College. In this video, we're going to talk about the power of using analogical reasoning to create compelling backstories. And how do we do this? We want the backstory, we want your backstory, what you did in the past and what you did later on in the more recent past from the present, to connect to each other, but not in an obvious way. So it can't be like, when I was little, I used to play with Legos and now I do robotics. No. That's super boring. It can't be like, when I was little, I played soccer and now I play more advanced soccer. That's also super boring. It can't be when I was little, I used to play with cars and now I like to make cars. Super boring. All that's been done before and it's all tedious. So I'm going to show you how you can make a backstory, either a true one or a false one, doesn't matter. How you can make a backstory that's going to be compelling, exciting, and stick in the reader's mind. So I'm going to show you a few backstories. I'm going to start off with the backstory of this person over here. Now, here's the thing. I saw a clip of a documentary about this person something like 20 years ago. And that backstory was so bizarre and so compelling and so interesting that it stuck with me to the present day. And that's what you want. You want when somebody reads your essay, they should still remember your essay 20 years later. That's what we're going for. So just to let you guys know, things are going to get totally inappropriate, very R-rated in a second. We are the most ruthless college strategy company in the world, and so we're not always going to be talking about nice, family-safe, grandma-safe, puppy-safe things. So if you have a problem with that, I don't know, turn the video off and go somewhere else, because we get success by being ruthless, not by living in Candyland. So if you need to turn off the video, just turn off the video. All right, you had your chance. This is Dennis Hoff, and so this is the guy that I saw a documentary about 20 years ago. I saw this documentary and it still sticks in my head that this backstory is so interesting. He is the owner of he was the owner of several brothels, of several legal brothels. You know what a brothel is? It's a whorehouse. He was the owner of several whorehouses, and he talks about how he got into the whorehouse business. He started out as a timeshare salesman. A timeshare is where several people get together to own a vacation home. So instead of one person just buying a vacation home, say in Malibu, 52 people together each share this vacation home. Everybody gets it for a week of the year. And, companies sell these timeshares, they make some profit, et cetera, et cetera. And so he talks about how he got into from timeshares to whorehouses. And we said, if you think about it, it's kind of the same thing. With a timeshare, a person is partially buying something that they can't realistically totally buy. And also, with a whorehouse, somebody goes to a whorehouse, they are temporarily buying something that they couldn't realistically, afford to buy or, practically buy. Now, that makes total sense, and yet it's totally unexpected. It makes sense. Well, you can follow the logic, but you don't think about it. Now, let's say he said, I grew up in, I grew up in a whorehouse. My mom was a prostitute, and so I've carried on with that. It wouldn't be memorable. I wouldn't remember that 20 years later. I wouldn't remember that 20 seconds later. If he'd started with timeshares and then started selling bigger timeshares, it wouldn't be memorable. But this connection, the fact that it goes from this one area to this totally different area, but it makes sense. It makes it stick in your mind, and you want your essay to stick in the reader's mind. Analogical reasoning, it shows introspection, it shows intelligence, and it makes things stick in the mind. That's so important. Next one's going to be a little bit more appropriate. Don't worry. I know I've scandalized some of you guys. This is Pablo Verón. This is a clip from the movie The Tango Lesson. Pablo Verón, probably the most famous tango dancer in the world. Now, most people who come to tango will come primarily from a modern dance or ballet background, which Pablo Verón probably had. But he at one point he talks in real life, not in the movie. In real life, he talks about his past, and his past was actually in martial arts, not in dance, but in martial arts. Or this is what he's talking about in this situation. And here's what he says. He says, if you think about it, martial arts and dance are very connected. They're a little bit different. So here he's doing both analogical reasoning, but he's also highlighting some interesting differences. And here's what he says. He says, In martial arts, you use your understanding of the human body, balance and coordination. You use your understanding to knock people down. In dance, you use that same understanding to hold people up. In martial arts, you knock them off their balance. In dance, you hold them on their balance. And so it's kind of memorable. Is it as compelling as the other thing? No, but it's still reasonably compelling. I'm going to show you one more. This one's from fiction. This is from Infinite Jest. Infinite Jest is a great book. It is kind of hard to read, but it is a brilliant, brilliant book. If you guys want something that's both an intellectual challenge, but also kind of intellectually stimulating and has a lot of just pretty humorous parts in it, I would recommend Infinite Jest. Now, here's one of the characters in Infinite Jest. Infinite Jest primarily, by the way, takes place at a tennis academy. And there's this one tennis player at the academy who's really good at just one thing. He's really good at a lob. And a lob is where you hit the ball kind of in a very high arc and it lands, behind the player. So he's really good at lobs. Not really that good at anything else, but he's amazing at this one thing. Now, later on in the story, guess what he becomes? A football kicker. Because a football kicker also is causing the ball within the game to go into a very high arc. It's interesting because it makes sense how you get from lobs to being a kicker, but it's not obvious. It's not like what everyone does. It's not like that most people go to a tennis academy and then become professional football players, but it makes sense. It's a big enough gap that it creates a compelling backstory. So you've seen a few compelling backstories in a couple of these upcoming exercises. You are going to make up some made up backstories and practice. You'll be able to see how you can make a compelling backstory that leads to whatever it is you want to have going on in the present.